Today we are going to talk about the 9 qualities of the Sangha. This is a very important chant, and it is chanted multiple times per day, or at least once per day, by most monks, most Theravada monks. And we'll go over the chant in Pali, we'll go over the English translation, we'll go over the word-by-word Pali-English translation, and we'll also talk about the meditation and the benefits for doing the Sangha Anusati. Then at the end we'll chant and we'll go over the meaning again, just in case you forgot. So let's start. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhase. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhase. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhase. So why is the 9 qualities of the Sangha, why is this chant so important? If you have been watching or listening to the other Dhamma talks, we have talked about the importance of knowing what Namo Tassa means. We have talked about the importance of knowing the 9 qualities of the Buddha. We have gone over the qualities of the 6 qualities of the Dhamma. And now we are going over the qualities of 9 qualities of the Sangha. So usually all of these are chanted together as a single chant, a triple gem, Tisarana. We chant these as part of the morning chanting or evening chanting, or both, usually both. If for those monasteries that have chanting during the midday, they would also do something of this nature as well. It promotes faith in the Arya Sangha. It helps one believe that the Arya Sangha is alive and well and exists. And it can bring about a lot of faith that the teachings are alive and well and being practiced to the level of attainment. It is calming and it gives joy. And because of that, it can be used as a meditation object, meditation subject for meditation. I think all of you would be familiar with this chant, but I will chant it for you now, and we will chant, like in the other videos, we will chant this video several times in several sections as we go through the meaning of each chant. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sankho. Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sankho. Nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sankho. Samicipatipanno bhagavato savaka sankho. Yadirang chatnari purisa yugnani atte purisa puggala. Esa bhagavato savaka sankho. Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaniyo anutteram punyaketam lokasati. So that is the chant of the 9 qualities of the Sangha. What does it mean? The community of the Blessed One's disciples have entered on the good way, the straight way, the true way, and the proper way. That is to say, the 4 pairs of men and the 8 persons. This community of the Blessed One's disciples is fit for gifts, hospitality, offerings, reverential salutation as an incomparable field of merit. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. So this is said 4 times. The bhagavato sāvaka sangho is said 4 times. Bhagavato, we have used this in Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa bhagavato. Bhagavato means the Blessed One. Now, this can mean both the dative, and it can also mean the genitive case. Genitive case means possessive case. In this case, we have the genitive case. This is the Blessed One's disciples, the community that belongs to the Blessed One. When we say Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, so we are saying to the Blessed One. They're spelled and pronounced exactly the same, Bhagavato. But through the context, through the different words that they are connected to, we can understand whether it's possessive or whether it's dative. And in this case, it is possessive. And Savaka means the hearers, those who hear. These are the disciples of the Buddha who hear the teachings. Now, a long time ago, the teachings were not written down. They were only transmitted orally, usually in groups. They chanted them together. And because, let's say, 20 people were chanting the same thing, then there was redundancy. If someone forgot the 4th word, if someone forgot the 21st word, if someone forgot the 83rd word, whatever, there's still maybe 5 or 10 or 20 other monks who know the chant. And so because of this redundancy, it was actually considered very highly reliable with this redundancy. There are many chants, actually, that I can only chant with the presence of a group. But chanting something alone is much more difficult. And so you might think that it's not so reliable, because you might think, oh, you just have to remember it alone. But actually, we chanted these with groups of people. Eventually, it was written down because we were afraid that we would lose the teachings. But for a long time, it was actually transmitted orally in groups, and it was very very reliable, and it can be proven that it's reliable. I don't really like to promote the idea of early Buddhist texts, but they can show that there are striking similarities with other versions of the Buddhist teachings that have survived even after being translated into other languages. But we should always rely on the Pali text as an authority. While it can give you faith, we shouldn't be comparing different language texts that have been translated 3 or 4 times. So this is not anything that is worth doing. We can understand that the oral tradition was good and proper, and that's enough. And the Pali texts are the most important, and we should rely on that. If you're a Theravada, if you're someone who follows another religion, okay, then you can do like this. So the Savaka is the hearers. They're the ones who followed the teachings. The Sangha is the community of those disciples. These are those who have right view. And these are the Arya Sangha. Now there are many different labels for Sangha. So we have Arya Sangha, like anyone who has attained the teachings. And we also have the monastic Sangha, we have the Sangha of the monks. And we have we have a mixture of Sangha. With we have the we could say we have different levels. Like for instance, the whole community. We could say the bhikkhunis, the bhikkhus, the bhikkhunis, the samaneras, the samaneris. Then we have the sikamanas as well. We could expand that further, but but in the general sense, when we say the Arya Sangha are those who have attained, even lay people. But when we have the Sangha, when normally we refer to the Sangha, this is the community of the monks. So this is what Sangha means. And it can mean the bhikkhunis as well. And so this is what it means. Supatipanna means entered on the good way. The Dhamma Vinaya that the Blessed One has preached well. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. So you might have heard this from the 6 qualities of the Dhamma. Su means of supatipanna. Su means good or well. I'm Subhuti, right? Subhuti. It also means well developed. Good. That's what so we have supatipanna, good patipanna. Patipanna means to walk or follow the practice. Pad means to go or to step. And so it means the practice. They practice well. They have thoroughly entered the right way, the irreversible way, the way that happens when Arya Magga Patipada is attained. When path has been attained, when the path has been attained, then it's irreversible. It does not go backwards. Parinibbana is bound to happen. The final goal of Buddhism is bound to happen once the Arya Magga has been attained. So we covered supatipanna, and that means entered on the good way. That means the Arya Magga Patipada, irreversible. Ujjupatipanna is the next one, and this means entered on the straight way. Because he has entered on the way, avoiding the 2 extremes and taking the middle course. This is avoiding the way of sensual pleasures, and this is the way of avoiding self-mortification, abandonment of bodily and verbal crookedness. The Arhat abandons all the faults of the mind. The bodily and verbal crookedness, the Sotapanna, the person who has attained the first level of enlightenment, he will not break the bodily and verbal crookedness. But the Arhat doesn't even have this in the mind, which is a precursor to the bodily and verbal actions. Nyaya patipanno. Nyaya patipanno means one who has entered the true way. Because Nibbana is what is called true. Entered on the way with Nibbana as its aim. That is what Nyaya patipanno means. Samiti patipanno means entered on the proper way. Because he has entered on the proper way, those who are worthy of proper acts are worthy of veneration. Because he is one who is attained at least the first level of enlightenment. Because of that, because of being worthy, we have Yadidang chattari purisa yugani atte purisa puggala esa bhagavato savaka sankho. So, Yadidang, that is to say, the 4 pairs, atta purisa puggala, the 8 individuals. These are the 4 maggas and phalas, the paths and fruitions. Esa bhagavato savaka sangho. This community of the Blessed One's disciples, this is the community of the Blessed One's disciples. Esa means this, bhagavato, genitive. It means the Blessed One's disciples. Savaka Sangha is the community disciples, the hearers, those who indeed have heard. Ahunyo, pahunyo, dakinyo, anjali karanyo. Ahuna plus aya is fit for gifts, literally means sacrifice. Everyone, even those taken from far away, because it brings, even those taken from far away, because it brings great fruit. Pahuneo, that's pahuna and aya, fit for hospitality. Dakineo, fit for offering, gifts given out of faith. We have 2 ways of giving gifts. One is for supporting, and another is for offering or puja. So when one is lower, we give, we make a donation. They have what we are giving them something. They are considered lower because they are the have-nots. But when we offer in terms of puja, we are offering in terms of respect, in terms of an offering, making an offering. And this is very high, very, very high, and for those who are worthy of it. Anjali karanyo, so fit for salutation, like this. We call this Anjali. If you didn't know, this is called the Anjali, when you have your hands like this. So we have a Dhammapada verse number 107. One might tend for 100 years the forest's sacred fire. But if for only a moment one might honor the self-developed, such honor were better by far than a century of sacrifice or centuries of sacrifice. A different way that we can look at this is, this is actually from an AI rendering of it, which actually did a really nice job. For a century, one could care a sacred flame in a forest lair, yet a fleeting moment spent in homage to the self-content outshines the ritual, ancient and rare, a moment's respect beyond compare. I really feel this brings out the meaning of this verse. And what it's saying is that during the time of the Buddha, they had these people who worshipped fire, and they had other sects of Buddhism, other sects of religions, and they tended to this sacred fire. I'm not sure how it was done, but with the Buddhist teaching, with the right view, they can practice and they can attain liberation. And for this, they become more worthy of honor. And when you honor such people, such beings who have attained, then just for that moment, it's worth more than centuries of honor. Otherwise. Anuttaram puñyaketam lokasati. Anuttara means beyond comparison, unsurpassed and peerless. Punya, punyaketam, field of merit. Punya means merit. Ketta means field. Lokasa, for this world. We have a simile of a donation, where we have the farmer who grows things. The donor is the farmer. The seed is the gift. And the field is the recipient. What do we get when that grows up? That is the result. You have different types of soil. If the soil is not fertile, nothing will grow there. If the seed is not good, then if it's weak, then something might grow, but maybe not well. So the donor is the farmer. There is some skill to knowing when to plant according to the seasons, according to the knowledge of how things grow, when to water and irrigate the farm, etc. So this is very important. And if you grow rice in the king's field, then this rice is called the king's rice. The fruit of that is called the king's rice. In the same way, we could say that when you give the gift to the Arya Sangha, then the result is of the same realm of the Arya Sangha. That result is has that power, we could say. So Sangha is the field of merit that grows for the whole world. So that's what it means by anuttaram punyaketam lokasati. So that's what it means. We have the benefits of the recollection of the Sangha. This is a meditation, Sangha Anusati, and you can practice this Sangha Anusati if you want. Actually, when we have donors, when I used to live at 𝗀𝗃𝗯𝗀, when I lived at 𝗀𝗃𝗯𝗀, the donors always would practice Sangha Anusati while donating to the Sangha, the community of monks in this case. And they would chant Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangha, and they just repeat it over and over and over and over again. And when they leave, they're probably chanting that as well. It's a very, very, very faithful people who donate to the monastery. They come and they bring their own LPG tanks, and they bring everything. They bring everything to the monastery and they cook it there. They bring everything there. And then they leave and they take their tanks, or maybe they'll leave them. And this is how they do it. They're up the whole night cooking. I used to live near the Dhanasala, and you could hear them grinding the coconuts. There's a big machine to grind the coconuts to get the meat out. And they're up the whole night, and then they offer in the morning. Whether it's the lunch or it's the breakfast, they're cooking long before that. So it can bring you to the level of access concentration, the Sangha Anusati. As the mind only does one thing, that is the goal, to have a concentration on one thing. It increases respect for the real Arya Sangha. he attains fullness of faith, one who practices the Sangha Anussati. He gets happiness and bliss. He can endure fear and dread and pain. He feels as if he's literally living with the Sangha. In fact, this sutta was given for the monks when fear and dread would arise in them. That's when these teachings were most famously given. They're given in other places, but this is when these teachings are given. Like when someone is in a war, they can see the armies with the flag, with the banner of their country's representation. And when they see that flag, they get that extra power. They get that extra faith to continue in the same way. When we have the triple gem chants, as I've been teaching you in the past few lessons, and also now, then we can say that this can lift you up and give you that extra energy to practice. So he feels as if he's literally living with the Sangha. His mind aims for those same attainments. When you know someone can attain something, you have that ability to know that you can attain that too. It is similar to the 4-minute mile. Before the 4-minute mile was broken, it was said to be impossible to break that time record. But after one person broke it, then more and more and more people were able to do that. In the same way, people thought that it was impossible to memorize the text of the Buddha. But there was Mingung Sayadaw. Mingung Sayadaw was determined to do that. And once he did that, then there were other people who became what we call Tipitaka Sayadaws. And they, too, also memorized many books, not just chapters or anything. Books. They've memorized books in volumes, multi-volume books of the original Pali teachings. So by knowing that there are Arya Sangha in the world, this can lift you up and you can aim for that same attainment. One can also get a sense of 𝗀𝗂𝗶𝗸𝗲, a sense of self-shame and fear of wrongdoing. In the West, this is self-shame is not so good, considered so good, but when we have a self-shame, what this does is it protects us. They are called the protectors of the world. And so we need to have this self-shame, this sense of being fearful of doing wrong things and having one's own fear for one's own self, like your own conscience, and to know what you should be doing and what you should not be doing, and to follow, of course, what you should be doing. And if someone does not attain Nibbana in this life, and he follows the teachings, then he will, if that 𝗀𝗂𝗯𝗀𝗃 gets pulled, we could say, he will go to the happy realm. If that 𝗀𝗂𝗯𝗃 gets chosen for the near-death mind process, Marana Javana, if that gets chosen for the Marana Javana, then the next life will become a happy realm. Only if it's chosen, though. So let's go through the verse again. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho, ujupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho, nyāyapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho, sāmīci patipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho, yadidang chattari purisa yugani atte purisa puggala, esa bhagavato savaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaniyo anuttaram punyaketam lokasati. So again, we'll go over the translation one more time. So the community of the Blessed One's disciples has entered on the good way, the straight way, the true way, the proper way. That is to say, the 4 pairs of men and the 8 persons. This community of the Blessed One's disciples is fit for gifts, hospitality, offerings, and reverential salutation. As an incomparable field of merit for the world. So, in conclusion, we have the 24 qualities of the Triple Gem. We have 9 qualities of the Buddha, we have 6 qualities of the Dhamma, and we just covered the 9 qualities of the Sangha. With the Sangha Anusati, you can attain 𝗹𝗶𝗸𝗀𝗃 samadhi. You can attain concentration where you're only focusing on one thing at a time. And you can continue that continuous focus on a single subject. With that, you can attain 𝗹𝗶𝗸𝗀 samadhi with this meditation as a subject. With that calm mind and the light of wisdom, you can look at the realities, mind and matter, and the causes of mind and matter, and seeing them arise and pass away, understanding that they are anicca, dukkha, and anatta, and then finally reaching Nibbana Supreme. So may you be one who now knows the 9 qualities of the Sangha, and be one who can attain 𝗹𝗶𝗸𝗀 samadhi, access concentration, and using that light of wisdom to look at the realities, mind and matter, and the causes of mind and matter, and for continued existence throughout samsara. And finally reaching Nibbana Supreme quickly and safely. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.